I think many of you found out I don't really watch superhero movies or anything, so I'm deeply unfamiliar with most of these actors and actresses. Ezra Miller is one of these people, apparently. I decided to look into it and see what the hell is going on. And let me tell you, I found many things, and I don't think you'll find most of them good, fun, easy to digest. It's a lot of gross stuff, actually. This article came out and I was like, all right, we got to talk about this. Guns, bullets, and weed. Ezra Miller housing 3 young children and their mother at Vermont farm. And I said, okay, this is quite a start. What could be going on here? So it says, sources claim the living conditions at the Flash Stars farm are unsafe for children, alleging there are weapons lying around and that a 1-year-old put a loose bullet in her mouth. That's what really caught my attention. I knew I was gonna have to talk about them and I didn't really know where to start. And then I saw this article and I was like, well, that's a starting point. Not one I thought we were gonna go with, but hey. They are also known for their other films, such as We Need to Talk About Kevin, The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and they were apparently also in the Fantastic Beasts series. Miller is controversial for their disturbing and increasingly volatile public behavior, which began as early as 2011, but really escalated in the 2020s with a series of incidents. And so we're going to talk about all of this essentially from 2011 to current. So let's go ahead and start back kind of at the beginning. So Vulture puts out the complete history of Ezra Miller's controversial career. So let's talk a little bit here about the early life, shall we? Because I think 1992 to 2008, right? That's all you get is a fucking paragraph. Are we the same age? I suppose so. So Ezra Miller grew up in New Jersey with their father, publisher Robert S. Miller of Workman Publishing, their mother Martha, a dancer, and their 2 older sisters. The family had a home in Chelsea for their forays into the city, as one does. So apparently they've got some money, honey. Like that's what I'm hearing so far. Became, I guess, an indie darling, as they like to say. 2011. Around this time in 2011, police find 20 grams of marijuana on Miller. The then 18-year-old is charged with drug possession, but the judge drops the case. So, I mean, I don't really think that drug possession, especially marijuana possession, I don't think that's a big deal. I don't think we should be punishing people for that. Let people do drugs. I don't give a shit. Continuing on, 2012, again, Perks of a Wallflower. 2013, Miller works with Greenpeace, which I've done a video on Greenpeace. I just have issues with the eco-terrorism part of things, that's all. Now, here's the thing, right? I do totally think we have a lot of environmental issues going on, but Greenpeace is kind of in the same vein to me as PETA. So it's, while the intentions might be good, I don't think the action is necessarily always in the right place. All right, so let's get back to this. So essentially just the beginning stuff, we've got, nothing super significant, right? This thing working with Greenpeace, I think maybe heart is in the right place. So essentially with Ezra Miller, up until 2020, that's the worst that we've got. So now we're gonna move on to where things aren't so good. So this starts in 2020, then it's gonna be kind of quiet. And then this year, 2022, is what's gonna happen. And all of the batshit crazy stuff that people have been asking about, that's what's on the table now. And I'm warning you that this is, I believe this video is slightly graphic, so I'm just letting you know. We are in 2020 is the year of this incident. So is that good? Is that enough? I hope that's I hope that's enough heads up because that's where we're at. So
the video was reportedly released online late on April 5th, 2020 and was taken at the Pre-Keys Cafeos bar in Reykjavik on April 5th.
Side note, just like unrelated to the incident, but I just like that there's like a rooster and coffee cups on the shop front or the bar front or whatever. I know this is unrelated to what we're about to watch, but that's just me being distracted from what I know is coming, so.
The 7-second video shows a woman playfully interacting with Miller and apparently mock preparing for a fist fight. And then Miller is heard saying, "Oh."
So you guys can see in this moment, like she's smiling. For some reason, thinks going for the throat is funny. I don't know, just me. I mean, I don't think that's funny, but okay. Yeah, they grab this woman by the throat, which should have really been the first sign that things are not okay, and then just proceeds to just like grab the woman and just duck to the floor. And I just don't get it. I'm just very fucking confused by this. JT Moonstar says, my understanding was that the woman asked for an autograph or something. Yeah, and if that's true, how unhinged is that? Oh, hey, oh my God, you're this actor that like I love. Can I get an autograph? And then they're like, autograph? Truthfully, if you were in that situation, how uncomfortable Scary? Shocking? Surprising? Is that? Because I would argue very. I don't know. This just seems a little, I mean, what do you say to this? This is weird. 2020 was relatively quiet in comparison to what's going to happen just this year, just a couple months ago. And in some cases, just a couple weeks ago. This is like the warm up for the bad shit, just FYI.
Oh, you want to fight? That's what you want to do to the woman before choking her and then throwing her to the ground.
So yeah, that's pretty much the video in question. I don't think there's more we need to add to that. So now we move on to this year, because this is where for some reason we went from, what to call this, just from not okay to just completely unhinged maybe? It's about to really escalate quickly here in just a moment, because we're getting into 2022. Most of you know, is where the Hawaii incident occurs. And if you don't know about the Hawaii incident, we're getting into it. This one's coming from TMZ because sometimes that is just the best you can get because everyone wants to sell footage to TMZ. It says the Flash star Ezra Miller odd dancing at lounge in Hawaii weeks after arrest at a nearby bar. They were already arrested at another bar, and now this odd dancing comes in. And so this is the warm up for this year. Yeah, so let's try and take a look at some of the odd dancing, I guess. So I'm gonna be honest about something. Odd dancing, I think, good description. So this dancing, right? So I've never been super into the whole, just psychedelics, but I've had friends that are. In my friend groups, I'm kind of known as like the mom friend. So if you guys know the stereotype, like that's me. I'm sure that's not really super surprising, but yeah. I'm the one who's always driving. Most of the time I'm the DD. When I see something like this, right? Because I've been to some raves with friends and stuff like that, and you know, they decide they want to roll, and that's cool, not my thing, but you know, I will carry the water bottles in the little backpack and make sure I keep an eye out for them so they're okay. When I see something like this, and I don't know what it is, maybe there is no drugs involved, maybe there are drugs involved, but I've most certainly seen people dancing like that. And most of the time I'm told that they've taken something. So yeah, do I think Ezra's possibly is doing something? Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely. Yeah, I do. Do I know for sure what? No. Do you see this? This is not it. That's where we are in April of this year. So this is just a couple months ago. So now we move on to June 2022. And this is where things get from weird to really, really wrong. So in June 2022, Ezra Miller is hit with a temporary restraining order in Massachusetts, right? Which sounds a little wild. The actor has now been asked to appear in court in 2 states after parents accused them of grooming, abuse, and intimidation involving a non-binary child, 12 years old, and a non-binary adult, 18 years old. So this is the downfall portion. We've been talking about, you know, the 20 grams of weed and the clearly drunk or high out of their mind weird stuff dancing at a bar. This is where things get a little not okay. Let's go through this article and do some learning, shall we? Because this is the beginning of the end in terms of the downfall. A Massachusetts mother has been granted a temporary order of protection on behalf of her 12-year-old child against Ezra Miller, the 29-year-old actor who stars in the upcoming Warner Bros. Superhero movie, The Flash. The court order issued Wednesday by the Greenfield District Court in Massachusetts and seen by NBC News, and it was issued without advance notice because the court determined that there is a substantial likelihood of immediate danger of harassment. The order does not contain any allegations against Miller. The mother, who spoke on the condition that their names would be withheld out of privacy concerns, said she and her child met Miller in February through an acquaintance. She said Miller seemed friendly, but she soon grew suspicious of Miller's relationship with her child, a child who is 12 years old. She said she told the judge that Miller offered to buy the child gifts, including a horse, even after she rejected Miller's earlier offers. I kept wondering why Ezra was here. Like, don't you have Hollywood stuff to do? Don't you have movies coming out? She said. And that's a very good point from the mother. Doesn't Ezra Miller have fucking adult things to do? The order of protection, first reported by the Daily Beast, adds to what is now a 3-month series of allegations directed at Miller that started with disorderly conduct charges in Hawaii and has since grown to include accusations from parents of child grooming. The allegations against Miller have also prompted online furor, pitting Miller's aggressive fan base that maintains their innocence against people calling for the authorities and Warner Bros. To take action. So if you can believe it, there is in fact this weird vitriolic fan base of Ezra Miller stans that apparently see this and think this is just a lie or something. So Variety reported that as of June 2nd, Warner Bros. Plan to release The Flash with Miller in 2023 as planned, which I think in these allegations coming out, no fucking way. But they decided they're going to continue on anyway. Miller and their representatives did not respond to repeated requests for comment, and Miller has not otherwise responded to the grooming allegations. It's a little bit fucking unhinged, don't you think? Miller has been arrested twice, both times in Hawaii, on charges of disorderly conduct and second-degree assault. Miller was released from jail on a $500 bond after the first arrest and pleaded no contest to 1 count of disorderly conduct, paying a $500 fine. A couple in Hawaii petitioned for a temporary restraining order against Miller in March and accused the actor of bursting into their bedroom and stealing personal records, including a passport and wallet, after staying with the couple. Weeks later, the couple voluntarily dropped the order. Now, I wonder, in the voluntary dropping of the order, and this is just speculation, so for the record, this is just an opinion. Legally, this is nothing that indicates that I am saying anything that is a lick of truth to it. I think the couple was paid off. I fully believe, in my personal, uninformed, stupid pyramid opinion, I think the couple got their belongings back and they were probably thrown maybe $10,000, $20,000 and they decided to drop it. During this time, Miller routinely posted on Instagram with a group of people that included Takara Iron Eyes, an 18-year-old non-binary person who, according to legal documents filed in Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Court, has known Miller since they were 12. So now for the record, we're changing gears. This is a different minor, now 18-year-old adult, legally speaking, who Miller has known since they were 12 years old, who is now 18. These are two 12-year-olds that Ezra Miller has been in contact with. So Chase Iron Eyes, a lawyer and well-known Indigenous environmental activist who is Dakota's father, filed for a protection order against Miller in early June, according to TMZ. And this is an effort to end what he describes to the court as an abusive relationship between Miller and Dakota. And Dakota is the 18-year-old, for the record, just so we're all on the same page here. This has escalated in recent months. On June 7th, the court granted an interim order that asked Miller to cease contact with the Iron Eyes family, including Dakota, and to not come within 100 yards of the Iron Eyes residence, someone who Miller has known since they were 12. But we're not done, because of course we're not done. If you thought that we were done here, you're wrong, and I'm here to further upset you. So let's go into detail about this current 12-year-old, not the past tense 12-year-old who is now 18. Let's continue to talk about why exactly was a 12-year-old as of 2022 granted an order of protection. Let's take a look at that. Fuck you and your paywall blocker, first of all. We will read this article one way or a fucking other. Anyway, this article details what was going on here. So the 12-year-old and what they're allegedly exploring with these supposed allegations, right? Alleged allegations is essentially stemming around psychological manipulation and brainwashing, right? Now, what kind of person brainwashes a child? What kind of person manipulates a child? And apparently, allegedly, has done it once before. Ace trainer Kinsey brings up a very good point, which is something I was going to bring up in a little bit, but let's bring it up now since I see the comment. Ace trainer Kinsey says, I'm curious as to how this will affect the NB community. And let's talk about that for a minute, because that is actually a topic I wanted to discuss, because this is something that certain people will and are taking advantage of to demonize non-binary folks. The appropriation of non-binary culture, right, is a thing. Okay, people may not necessarily be non-binary, and they will attempt to hide behind it to justify behavior. And some people claim that Ezra is doing such a thing. Whether or not Ezra is non-binary is not the argument here, for the record. This is being used as a justification as why, if you are part of the LGBTQ community, you are dangerous. Oh, you can't trust the gays because they're going to kidnap your fucking children and indoctrinate them. Doesn't happen. until right now in 2022, when Ezra Miller becomes completely unhinged and does the exact shit that literally nobody does, and now is giving credence, solace, whatever, giving validity to these empty fucking arguments that the right's been spewing. Well, now they have their poster child. So here's what's this interesting little plot twist here, right? Ezra Miller, the temporary protection order was approved against the Star, right? They can't find Ezra Miller now. So here, a court approved a protective order against Miller on behalf of Chase Iron Eyes and his wife, Sarah Jumping Eagle. The two claimed Miller physically and emotionally abused their teenager. How do you physically and emotionally abuse a fucking child? Because you got to remember, Iron Eyes, Dakota, was not always 18. They're 18 now, but Ezra has known Dakota since they were 12. And in that time period, physically and emotionally abused that child. Even a 17-year-old is a child. I even argue to a degree, you are still a child until you are like 20. When you're done with your teens, like when 18, 19, child, 20, barely an adult. I think you should be like junior adult levels. There should be levels to adult. Like you don't get to be full-fledged adult at 18. No. When I was in high school and I was 14, 15 years old, my friend and I were both flirting with the same 23/24-year-old man. And we thought we were cool because we were told how special we were and how cool we were and how mature we were. And when I finally became that same age, when I finally became 23, 24 years old, I realized how wrong that was. I knew when I became like 19, 20-ish that it was wrong, but it was one day I'm 23 years old. I'm in college, you know, I'm living my life, and it hits me because I'm driving past like a high school or something, and I look at the kids and I'm like, those are children. Those are very clearly children. It clicked, like it horrifically clicked in my brain with like a big like snap, you know, and I was like, oh my God, those are children, which means that 23-year-old, when I was a child, when I was 14, 15 years old, knew that and chose to disregard that, to try and elicit graphic images of me as a child and my friend, and spoke to us with very explicit roleplay type weird ass fucking language. Let me make no mistake here. If this is the second child that Ezra Miller is allegedly grooming and starts at the age of 12, they are perfectly aware that that is a child. Ezra and I are apparently about the same age, which is disgusting. But even me, right now, at apparently the same age as Ezra Miller, I damn well fucking know those are children. And even this 18-year-old child, I won't associate with 18-year-olds, with 19-year-olds, and it's not personal. And I mean this with no disrespect when I say this, but let me be clear. I do not want to associate with you, not personally. One, because you are too young. You have a part of your life that you need to live and experience and learn how to adult and how to become who you are. I don't want to allow ads. Anyway, the point is, you can see up here, Ezra Miller can't be located by court trying to serve the protection order. So they've disappeared as that protection report has gone live. Can't be found. Just evading the law, trying to hide from this protection order, which is a protection order against interacting with children, apparently. And that's what they are hiding from. And that's kind of where I guess we are with this. So here's Forbes talking about what potential options may be on the table for Warner Brothers with Ezra Miller, because Ezra Miller at this point is 2020, apparently choking out that fan, the woman asking for the autograph. That wasn't enough to do it. 2022 in Hawaii, we're talking about apparently stealing some people's passports, getting arrested, disorderly conduct in a bar. And now we find out that there's two children, one who is currently 12, one who was 12 is now 18, that are now attempting to get protection orders against Ezra Miller for contact. And now we get to the most recent article, which is what started the whole stream, which is this article right here. Guns, bullets, and weed. Ezra Miller housing 3 young children and their mother at a Vermont farm. The sources claim the living conditions at the Flash Stars farm are unsafe for children, alleging there are weapons lying around and that a 1-year-old put a loose bullet in her mouth. Ezra Miller has been hosting a 25-year-old mother and her 3 young children at their Vermont farm, a living arrangement that worries the children's father, as well as 2 others with knowledge of the situation. 2 sources with knowledge of the situation expressed concern to Rolling Stone that it is an unsafe environment for children, alleging there are unattended guns strewn about the home on Miller's 96-acre property. One source, who, like the other, requested anonymity in fear of retribution, recalled an instance where one of the children, a 1-year-old, allegedly picked up a loose bullet and put it in her mouth. But the mother, who, like the father, Rolling Stone is not naming, claims that Miller helped her escape from a violent and abusive ex, and Miller helped me finally have a safe environment for my 3 very young children. And I don't know, based on how Ezra Miller apparently feels about 12-year-olds, and again, speculative, stupid pyramid opinion here that holds no basis in fact whatsoever, isn't it weird that if someone potentially, theoretically, is a groomer, that this is kind of like built-in children to go with dependency on them? It's just a weird little funny speculation that holds no basis in reality when I say that, but isn't it weird? So the mother and their children aged 1 through 5, have been living at Miller's Stamford, Vermont farm since mid-April. The actor met the woman in Hawaii when he'd been visiting in March. So sometime throughout this insanity of March, finds this woman in Hawaii and takes her to Vermont with 3 children. And knowing that this human has already enjoyed the company of 12-year-olds at a bare minimum, these are just built-in children ready to go. And now Ezra Miller has essentially isolated those folks, that mother and 3 children, onto their farm. I think something's not adding up. I think something's really wrong in the situation. Can't quite put my finger on it. Video footage from April reviewed by the Rolling Stone appears to show at least 8 assault weapons, rifles, and handguns lying around the living room, with some weapons propped up next to a pile of stuffed animals. To have a gun just laying about your house is dangerous for a variety of reasons, with or without children being present. You could be in an altered state of mind where you are unsafe to use the gun, but then decide to use it anyway. And it's right there and sitting and staring right at you, right? 2, someone could break into your house and get access to that gun. 3, someone could be visiting your house invited and take that gun anyway. 4, and here comes the children. Children don't understand guns. Children do not have firearms training, typically speaking, right? So now an assault rifle being in the living room, Rolling Stone says some weapons propped up next to a pile of stuffed animals. Why would a kid necessarily differentiate a gun from a stuffed animal? Like, I understand they understand those are 2 different materials, but why would a kid see that and go, maybe that's a toy, and accidentally shoot the fucking gun? Even worse, accidentally shoot the gun when it's pointed at somebody else or at themselves. These are real issues. Again, Chase Iron Eyes and Sarah Jumping Eagle filing the order on behalf of their 18-year-old child. And then I believe there's going to be something, here we go. And then here's about the 12-year-old child in Massachusetts, that the order was granted because the court determined there is a substantial likelihood of immediate danger of harassment. That is the story of Ezra Miller.